Hello Year 8. Last lesson we looked at Judith, who used her power to help other people, her power over Holofernes, her power over the Syrian army to help other people. This lesson we're going to look at God. Now, what I'd like you to do, please, is just to imagine in front of you there is a hat. I might have done this with you in class, but just to imagine that there's a hat. And on this hat it says, I am a theist. Now remember what a theist is. A theist is someone who believes in God. Now whether you yourself believe in God or not is not something I want you to think about. I want you to have a little bit of what we call empathy, to imagine what it must be like to believe in God. And put that hat on. Imagine that hat's before you, just place it on your head. So now you are a theist. Now one of the things that theists believe about God is that God is omnipotent. And this provides us with a problem. It provides us with a problem that I want us to look at in this next few minutes. And that is, if God is omnipotent, then why does God not stop things? If I was all powerful, I'd stop things like hunger. I'd stop things like thirst. I'd make sure that everybody had enough to be getting on with. I'd make sure that everybody did have enough to sort each other out. That third world countries would not have starving children in them. That bullying wouldn't happen in secondary schools or in any schools in our country. That people would not go to bed not knowing where their next meal is coming from, or where they are going to be able to go to find some help from somebody because of some problem that they have with bullying, or with a loved one, or with one of their friends. That's if I was omnipotent. If I was all powerful, that's what I'd want to do. That's what I'd want to stop. Anybody who could hurt another human being. And so we have this problem with our theist hat on, because theists believe that God is omnipotent. So why doesn't God use God's power to stop other people? Stop people from being greedy and not allowing other people to have food. From being selfish and bullying other people. From being hurtful and not allowing others to sleep well at night, or to scare them in certain ways by burgling their homes or scaring their friends and their family. And so we come to this problem. Why doesn't God? Problem for theists. Why doesn't God stop what is obvious? And well, here's the answer to that problem. Human beings were created, if we believe in God, human beings were created by God. And therefore, they were created by God to do certain things. Now, one of those things that they were created for was to have their own thoughts and their own ability to do right and wrong. People have called this ability free will. Human beings having the ability to choose. I can choose to do a good thing, or I can choose to do a bad thing. Free will isn't the ability to do whatever you want. For example, and no matter how hard I flap my arms, I cannot fly. But free will is the ability to be able to choose. Now I believe I have free will. Whether I believe in God or not is neither here nor there. But if I was a theist, I would say, now, here we have the answer to, part of the answer to the problem. If I was God, I would have to create human beings with free will. Otherwise, they would not have ability to choose. Otherwise, they would do whatever I wanted them to do. If I told them to turn left, they'd turn left. If I told them to turn right, they'd turn right. But I want them to have ability to choose. And if they have the ability to choose, then they have the ability to choose what's wrong as well as what's right. Otherwise, major disasters like the Twin Towers and various murders and things like that happen across the world wouldn't happen. And so we have to, if I was a god, I would have to allow that to happen if I want human beings to have free will. If they didn't have free will, as I said, they'd be like robots. And that would be silly. So, to a certain extent, God, whilst he may be omnipotent, if God does exist, he has to allow human beings to choose, and he has to in some way not use his power to stop things like hunger and thirst and hatred and suffering, because human beings cause it through their free will and their own free choices.